faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, this amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman. Empowered with X-ray vision, possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
Wow! Doesn't he look mighty handsome, daring, and strong? We sure could have used a man like him in the war. In reality, Superman is a fictional character created during World War II. He was created to be a crowd pleaser and influence his readers to think negatively about our enemy. Most of his propaganda actually was only on the cover. Superman may have been riding missiles and pushing for the aid in the war on his covers, but he didn't even fight for the war in his actual comic books. Most of the comic books were about fighting in World War II. The propaganda mainly comes from the cover page. Many of these cover pages have nothing to do with the issue. This is why Superman's cover had him fighting in the war. The writer was scared children would expect Superman to win the war, so the writer had Superman fail an eye exam during enlisting. Superman's excuse? He was so nervous, he x-rayed the chart in the next room. We do, however, have two superheroes who fought in the war, one being Captain America, who started as a weak, small man given special abilities by a scientist. Captain America then fights the war until he freezes through time. The second superhero is Black Hawk. Black Hawk originally starts out as a Polish superhero in a soldier uniform fighting the war. An interesting fact about Black Hawk, he actually became of American origin later when he gained popularity. The reason for this is because the government had some control over comics. The founders of comic books, Will Eisenhower, worked together to form OWI, also known as Office of War Info, as well as WWB. This is known as War Rights Board. These were used to influence a nation to be for the war and help in the war effort. That's why many comics have ads about the war. Comic books not only influenced in helping the war, but also in stereotyping cultures. Germans wore monocles and had neatly trimmed facial hair, as well as wore brown uniforms and swastikas. African Americans were put down to have oversized lips and speak very simple words. And then the Asians were evil, rat-like creatures with buck teeth and thick glasses. Comic books depicted each race this way to allow Americans to believe they were superior. Yet writers were not the only ones to influence the comic books. The American audience had a huge deciding factor where their comics would make it, because the audience chose which superheroes would actually make it and which wouldn't. Many comic book writers didn't even name their superheroes till after they'd gained popularity from the audience. One thing the audience couldn't change was the cover, a constant reminder that the war was going on and that you needed to help out. Comic books had a positive and negative influence on World War II. It can be said comic books helped in the war in a huge way. These covers increased the number of Red Cross aides, bonds, and enlisters. People were more for the war because of the negative portrayals of foreigners, but this left a negative, lasting impression on future generations. In conclusion, I leave you one question to think about. What would happen without the influence of these comic books?